In this video, we will be tasting and talking about batch 117 of the Eco-Cha Tea Club, an Eco-Farmed GABA Oolong Tea from Taiwan. Batch 117 of the Eco-Cha Tea Club is an Eco-Farmed GABA Oolong Tea from Taiwan, from our regular source of Eco-Farmed GABA Oolong Tea that we carry in our store. The difference being that this is a hand-picked batch of tea harvested in June 2025. We just learned that our source didn't harvest this from this plot of tea in the springtime because it didn't grow uniformly and prolifically enough. So he waited until the season naturally produced a prolific and abundant crop of tea and harvested in June. And as a result, the leaves are particularly thick and reflecting what they would be if the tea trees were allowed to grow naturally, not being harvested on a seasonal basis and then harvested again while the leaves are still quite tender and young. So they're a little more mature, a little thicker in the stem material and leaf material, but picked while still young, not too fibrous. So as a result, the endurance factor in the brewing of this tea is extraordinary. It can be brewed for many times, like probably 8 or more. We only have 5 steepings here. We recommend a little bit less than our normal oolong brewing ratio. So rather than going with 1:15, maybe go with 1:17, 10 grams of tea for a 170 milliliter cup, and then brew by the standard time, starting with a little over 1 minute, dropping it down for a little under 1 minute, and then slowly increasing by 10 or 15 seconds per brew. You'll find out that the leaves are substantial and have a substantial body in the actual brewed tea. The leaves were partially rolled intentionally to allow them to be packaged a little more easily than curled leaf tea like most black tea is. But he wanted to keep enough exposed surface area on the dried leaves to be conducive to post-oxidation. Which this tea does very well with. It'll only get better with time, at least up until a couple of years, and then it won't decrease, it'll just transform in its flavor profile, as we have learned from keeping batches of GABA tea for 4 years or 5 years and tasting them, and they really change in their makeup, or at least in their flavor profile makeup. But up until a year, it just kind of gets deeper and richer and more full-bodied as time goes by. Okay, I want to sip. GABA oolong, as we have experienced it, evidently there's a wide spectrum of how GABA is made. Essentially, let's describe GABA. GABA is an acronym for gamma-Aminobutyric acid, if I'm correct. It's a naturally occurring compound in our nervous system. It's a neurotransmitter that is responsible for calming us down after we have been stimulated in some form in a fight or flight manner. So it's a brain chemical, basically, and it has been produced and offered as a food and health supplement to enhance a calming effect, reduce blood pressure, help with sleep patterns, and even, I believe, improve heart conditions. These are the reported benefits of GABA as a substance. There is some scientific controversy, as we've read, about whether GABA being ingested can have an effect on our body or if it needs to come from ourselves. You can read up more on that as you will, and hopefully research will increase to clarify that aspect. It has been widely accepted on the consumer market as being beneficial for its calming effects. What we have noticed, and we've tried to pay attention over the years of how we feel as a result of drinking GABA, it still feels like tea, but we do get a sense of a more visceral, a calming effect on the visceral level and a clarifying effect on the mental level. So yeah, it's a nice, mellow, what might be called a calming cha chi among tea circles. And the way that this substance is increased manifold it's naturally occurring in tea leaves, and it's increased manifold by processing the tea leaves, oxidizing the tea leaves in an oxygen-free environment. So basically, the leaves are put into these steel drums, the oxygen is pulled out of it, it's a vacuum basically, and then they oxidize in what in effect is a nitrogen environment. And that increases the GABA levels in the tea leaves as a result. The way that our source has made it, and he's been a pioneer in our experience of researching and developing GABA tea processing methods, is that he puts the tea leaves in these drums, the oxygen-free environments, for a long time, like 10 hours at a time, takes them out and then tumbles them for a really long time, like multiple times the normal oolong tea processing methods. Rather than indoor withering lasting for about 10 hours, it goes for over 30 hours in total. And rather than the tumbling being either 20 minutes up to an hour in total for standard oolong tea methods, these go for 6 hours overall. So it's like withering and then tumbling, withering and tumbling a few times, and it goes for a few days. So it's a very time-consuming and extensive process in making GABA in order to get those GABA levels up to a significant amount. Our source has tested their tea repeatedly, and I believe they rank around, or the reading is about 175, whatever that proportion is. I don't know if it's milligrams, parts per million, I can't remember exactly. But in order for tea to be legitimate, or GABA tea to be legitimate, that reading has to be 150 minimum. And it can go up to 200, I think. So we're just about midway in the spectrum of legitimate GABA oolong tea. Evidently, there is some sort of gauging how to make the tea in order to produce a tea that is pleasurable and have enough GABA in it. Originally, the Japanese scientist who invented it, and the tea that was made in Japan was pretty nasty tasting, and that's why they sought oolong tea makers in Taiwan, this is a true story, to use the oolong tea processing methods to produce GABA. And that all went down like over 20 years ago, and now GABA has been a standard thing for specific producers. Not many people produce it. I guess the demand for it is relatively low in terms of the tea market overall. It's more of a health oriented product than a specialty tea product. We think it's pretty specialty, GABA or no GABA. It's a very fruity profile, tangy. When the tea was brewing, I always think of rhubarb. I can't remember the last time I tasted rhubarb or smelled it. It's a childhood memory for me, having lived in Taiwan for decades and not having found it here. But that kind of stewed fruit, very tangy and sweet qualities. I also think of wild berries, blackberries, raspberries, sometimes stone fruit like plums, maybe even like a pluot kind of factor, something that's sweet and tangy, basically. And kind of a bouquet. It's not just a flavor, it has aromatic qualities as well. So there we have it. Handpicked. We offer the hand-picked version of this tea to our tea club once a year because we think it is a very unique and worthwhile tea to share and represent, and just allow people to know about GABA and GABA Oolong Tea as it is made in Taiwan. Check it out. If you really like GABA Oolong and you finish this batch, you can check out the version in our store. Same source, same basic raw material. The only difference is that the leaves are machine harvested in our in-store product rather than hand-picked, and as a result, a higher quality that we offer in our tea club. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next month.